Luke, you are preaching to the choir, my friend.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Deep Drop. If you're new here, welcome. It is so good to have you here. We welcome everyone with open arms, and if you're new, get in for a Deep Drop hug. Bring it in. If you've heard the Deep Drop before and you're back again, well, that's awesome too. Get in as well. Let's make this. Let's get amongst it. I'm Luke McCredden, and with me as always is Adam Ringads. We're just a tight knit family at the Deep Drop.
We are. We don't discriminate. There's hugs all around. And if you're a fan of listening to two bogans that do a bit of fishing, talk a bit of shit, you've tuned into the right podcast.
Bogans? Well, whatever. I'm sure we've been called worse.
Yes.
But it's exactly that. And like I said, if you are new here, this is very much somewhere where you can come and not feel like you need to be an expert. Because Ads and I don't claim to be experts. We've been both involved in the fishing industry in several formats for a long time, Ads, but one thing we do like to do is just open up weird and wonderful questions that kind of aren't the norm. They're not the normal sorts of questions that you might hear, and it's based on the fact that when you're out in the boat or you're on a road trip, those questions arise.
Exactly, and fishing's a beautiful thing because there's more than one way to do everything. But there's also some little things that can be done that no one either wants to do or talks about. And that's where we step in, Luke.
Yeah.
Not afraid to ask the hard questions or put out some wacky theories out there and see if anyone's doing it. Because from a theory standpoint, some of it makes sense. But... you know what I'm saying?
What I love is what you've gone with there, and you've gone with the fact that we're open to ask the hard questions. And Ads, I'm not going to muck around. I'm actually going to kick straight into a question, and it you know what? It's going to be uncomfortable for some people.
Oh, I love this already. Hit me with it.
Go. It's going to make you think, and you sometimes have to make a call in fishing and in life. There's moments where you have to just make a call, and it's not always easy, but it needs to be done. And one of those calls is, at what point do you say enough's enough? And how long do you wait at the ramp for your mate to get there? You've put the boat in, you're ready to go. You said to be here at 6, and it's 5 past. Like, how much longer are you going to wait? And I raise this, Ads, just for a bit of a precursor. I raised this based on experience only a week or two ago fishing, and there was a person meant to be on board, and 5 minutes is tight, don't get me wrong. This would have been no more than 10 minutes, and the crew and close friends of this person said, "Fuck him, he's not here, we're going." And we left.
Oh, you did leave?
We left, yeah. He didn't make it.
Okay, hang on. I need some backstory here. Was it a big night the night before?
It was an extremely big night the night before, and said person was heard to have been out the longest.
Yeah, okay.
So there was an assumption that if he wasn't going to be there at that time, he was no chance. So there was kind of a bit of
fair.
Yeah. So did
anyone try contacting you?
Yeah, no, he got a warning call. He got a heads up call at the time of when we said we'd be at the boat. Yeah. No answer. And then I think there was a couple of texties flown out, no response. And I'm telling you, it would have been no more than 10 minutes. And it was like, nah, fuck him. And by the way, I can be a bit of a hard ass sometimes with that stuff, but this wasn't me. This wasn't my call. I was all in favour, by the way, because I didn't want to wait around much longer either. So off we went. Too bad.
No, I think that's pretty fair. I guess the only part of that could be quite controversial is the 10 minutes.
Yeah. No, I agree. But look, I think we would. in that scenario, given, and you, I don't know why you went straight to, was it a big night, but the night before, you know me too well. I think if that wasn't the situation, there probably would have been a longer wait. But I think we just went, you know what, he was hammered at 4 in the morning, and it's now 8, and he's not going to be in any shape to be here. So you're right. I think in a non-alcohol fueled evening the night before, we probably would have been a bit longer, But having said that, mate, you got to be there.
No, Luke, you are preaching to the choir, my friend. Because for me, I have so much of an issue with being late. Personally, this is not judging anybody else or expecting them to be there on time, but I, in myself, class as so important. I generally get to places anywhere up to half an hour early. Not planning to get there that early, but I can't stand being late. As in, I would rather be half an hour early, sitting in the car park, just dicking around on my phone.
Yep, I'm with you.
Than rushing my ass off trying to be there.
I'm at the point
right on time.
I'm at the point where it's almost ingrained in me now, and I just naturally get to places early, and to the point where I've even had to physically try and just leave a bit later. Like, you don't need to leave this early.
Yeah. But I can't do it. It just makes me feel uncomfortable. Yeah. And having said that, though, I don't... depending on the situation, how often it happens, I don't expect everybody else coming to have that same mindset. I think if you set a time for something, then I think you should be trying your best to get there. But if you're sort of 5-10 minutes late, whatever. Your fishing trip's a completely different thing because, like I said, there was backstory. Big night, clearly wasn't going to get there on time. And a fishing trip is kind of different too because there's so many factors.
There's so many variables.
There could be times where if you miss a tide by 10 minutes, it's done.
So I think it's almost worth a bit of a breakdown on this topic without spending too much time on it. But I think you're right. I think it's, if you're fishing for some of those species that are very, very much tide, time, moon, whatever it is, dependent, you can't be fucking around. You got to be there when you need to be there.
Yeah.
The other element too, and so I pose this question: how long do you wait at the ramp to the boat owners? The skippers, because I think they're the ones that have. If you're supplying the vessel, you're ultimately leading the charge for the day. They're the ones that you gotta make an effort to be there
for sure.
But the other factor, what about a charter? At what point you've got a group of 6 or 8 of your mates and you've booked a charter boat, paying decent coin. We know that they're not cheap. You get down there, it's one mate and he's 15 minutes late. It's money. It's money that's on the clock.
I think that's an automatic fuck it. Because
but what's that time? How long?
Oh, seriously? If there's no communication?
Yeah, that's the other... yeah.
If there's no communication, I think it's got to be, 10, 15 minutes max? Because you're right. It's money. And not just... And I'm not just talking value for money for the paying customers, but these charter boat operators don't run one trip a day.
No. Well, they're not going to go out 15 minutes longer because you're late.
Exactly.
They're still coming in at the same time.
And nor should they.
Absolutely. They're there on time.
So the charter ones are different. That's a different beast. Yeah. I think you've got no choice. You need to be on time unless there's communication.
Yeah. And I think that's the same with, punters with boats too. It's all about the communication for me.
Yeah.
No communication, the window is smaller. With full transparent communication, you can probably stretch it out to a bit longer. But with no communication, you've got every right to leave after 10, 15 minutes. I
agree. Totally agree.
Look, I guess I raised that again based on an experience recently, but also the fact that it's going to happen over the next few months. Port Phillip Bay, Western Port, there's going to be boats lined up. You don't want to be stuffing around. It's absolutely peak time. There's going to be some boat owners out there that they're stupid, lazy mate. He's
Well, that's
always
the other
late.
thing too. Tackling a Victorian boat ramp in
That's what I'm
snapper season.
Yeah,
That's brutal.
yeah. Anyway, let us know what you think. We're gonna throw that one up on Instagram ads, and as always, we get lots of great feedback through messages, but also in the posts themselves, and we love hearing it and love hearing out other people's opinions and thoughts. So this one's going to be a cracker. How long do you wait for your mate at the ramp? Check it out. Give us your thoughts. Give us some experiences, some life experiences.
Yeah.
How brutal! I can't wait to see the most brutal skipper out there. That's just like.
I can guarantee you that someone's been set up early and just gone, nah, fuck him. I'm ready. We're out.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. Is it skipper's rules? As soon as skipper's ready, you got to be there. Anyway, all right. That's. I'm looking forward to that one. Give us your thoughts. How long do you wait at the ramp for your late mate?
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it.
Because it is going to be. It is. You know, we are coming into such a great time of year, ads. I'm genuinely pumped, and as we've kind of seen the last couple of weeks, yes, it's still been a bit up and down in terms of weather. We've certainly felt some warmth, which I absolutely love.
Oh, yeah. And warmth starts everything.
Yeah.
Where with the start of the yellow belly season inland now, we got snapper season coming, King George whiting season. I would say these days doesn't really stop, but the bulk of them are going to be caught over the next 6 months, 4 or 5 months, realistically.
Calamari.
Yeah, calamari. We've got the big spring spawners coming up, so it'll be big calamari time
Tunas.
shortly. Yeah, tunas don't stop. It's pretty intense. But Luke, I think I
That's a
have.
dramatic side.
Yeah, because the more I think about it, it's kind of fucking dumb. Because I've got this obsession with LiveScope.
Have you?
Yeah,
Okay.
and what makes it dumb is I don't have one.
What's the obsession? Just
well,
looking at photos of it.
No. The obsession is how controversial it is, and but the more I've been looking and talking and searching and this, that, and the other, there's been some interesting developments that I think could answer some questions that we have raised previously on the deep drop. And it's in regards to snapper. So, Luke, you and I have tackled in previous episodes of the deep drop, we have tackled things like why hasn't micro jigging taking off for snapper? Trolling for snapper, live baiting for snapper, all of these different things, these different scenarios in which we think are tailor-made for a good quality schooling fish like snapper, yet haven't fully taken off in Victoria.
Yeah.
And I've kind of come to a loose conclusion. I'm happy to be talked out of it. I think LiveScope could change all of that in a really amazing way. So the backstory to this is LiveScope is kind of creeping its way into yellow belly fishing in the freshwater impoundments of Victoria, to the point where they're locating schools of yellow belly on LiveScope, and they're dropping, whether it be a live bait or whether it be a blade or a lure, it doesn't matter what it is. It's actually quite irrelevant. But what they're using LiveScope for is to see if that school is reacting to what you're offering. So if you've found a school of yellows, you cruise over, you drop down whatever you've got, and you give it a wiggle around for a little bit. And if you see fish move up to that lure, you're like, okay, we're on. And then say you hook up on the first one, they turn LiveScope off and just start catching yellows. But it's not like a cod where you are literally watching this one fish for hours and hours, just trying to watch it eat a lure. You're just seeing if the school that you've found is interested or is switched on.
Mm-hmm.
Does that unlock all of these interesting ways to catch snapper? Now, I'll use small jigs as an example because it's probably the easiest one to explain.
Yeah.
So you use your normal, standard, everyday sonar that's been around forever, the old school one. Cruise around, locate a school of snapper. Turn on LiveScope, find those fish on LiveScope, drop a vertical jig, slow jig away, and watch what the school does. If you have fish interested, making their way over, looking at the jig, backing down, okay, cool, drop again, same deal, you get one commit. Turn LiveScope off, jig away and catch snapper. Do you think that LiveScope, in this sense and this form of using it, do you think that this potentially unlocks some of these different and amazing ways that we think in theory should catch snapper? Does it turn it into tick it off? There's just going to be a boom in all these lures and things to catch snapper because of LiveScope.
Wow. Well, firstly, yes, you do have an obsession.
And I don't even own one.
Secondly, it's such a great... No, it's brilliant, though. And thank you for bringing that to the deep drop. I think I love it. And I love the world that LiveScope opens up. Now, yeah, I'm with you. I don't own this technology, and I probably don't... Oh, well, certainly don't have the obsession you do, but also probably don't have the full knowledge across it yet either.
But do you know what's weird? Just quickly before you keep going, what's weird? I have no drive to even go and buy LiveScope. I don't. I'm not so much obsessed with using it. I don't. It doesn't bother me that people that do. I just could it just be the answer to these little things that we've asked?
I reckon
that's what I'm fascinated in.
I reckon absolutely yes is my answer, because I mean you've just painted it and described exactly why in just that short monologue, Adam. I love it, and I think you've nailed it. I think absolutely it could. Now, yeah, it could and it will at two sort of different things. I'm just sort of speculating, but I think it makes sense, doesn't it? Because what is kind of already happening just needs to be transferred over into, into the bay on snapper. And I think the ability to see what they're reacting to, whether it be a soft plastic, a slow falling soft plastic, or a stronger action of a metal jig, or a hard body swimming past the school, will absolutely let you know what they're about to react to, won't it? So it also leads to, and I think you touched on it just at the end of that, is people needing more tackle. Because you've got to have something that will work in any of those situations. Now, there's a bit of probably time and effort in that too, and I know that we've spoken about in the past, does LiveScope take away the effort? Because it's kind of like you're spotting the fish and then just putting, placing a lure in front of them. But in this situation, it's kind of the opposite. It's almost like making it work a bit harder in a different roundabout way, because you're sort of more trial and error, whereas maybe alternatively you just drop a bait and see what happens.
Yeah, it still hits a funny nerve. Like, even just thinking about it now, because depending on who you talk to, and I still think that I sit in this camp. Don't get me wrong, I do not, and I will never enjoy catching fucking nothing.
Yeah. You're human.
But do you think... I think I still enjoy the romance of... Like, say I was to sound a school of snapper and drop a vertical jig and catch 3, I would be, like, that excited. It wouldn't even be funny. But yeah. Do you still get the same level of excitement?
Well, that's my question. That's the thing I've questioned with this technology, and it's the same with, we've heard. I think in our live show we might have been talking about with Lee Rayner on stage about the instead of putting 200 casts in for a cod, you're kind of putting 3 or 4. And I get it. It's certainly takes away the sore arms and shoulders and back, but is the reward after 4 casts as great as the reward after 200 casts, or that feeling of succeeding more exciting after putting in more effort? That's always been my question with this. It's kind of like, does it take anything away from it?
Yeah, I can't help but think that it does. As in, I guess it's just reward for the grind.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem as grindy using live scope, but and I'm really not against it.
No.
I think it's an amazing bit of technology that's only going to get better.
I'll be honest. I've had discussions with Lee about live scope in the bay, and I know he's doing a bit of mucking around with it at the moment with Snapper, and I'm really keen to jump on board, which is going to happen pretty soon, to actually have a bit of a look. Yeah, I'm more than happy to do a bit of a phone film and chuck on the Deep Drop Instagram.
Oh, you have to. You have to.
Because I'm just keen to see what it looks like as well.
Yeah, that's right. I'm obsessed with the theory behind it. I'm not very driven to go and get a live scope and start scouring Port Phillip Bay with it. Nor am I have the same level of excitement to go to Lake Eildon and try and find cod on it. It just doesn't.
No,
it doesn't do it. But
it's the theory of it.
Oh, mate, I love it. Like I'm obsessed with it because it could.
I'm picturing you coming out snapper fishing and just literally not leaving the helm seat, just watching the screen or sitting up the back watching the screen wherever it is. No, I just
find it fascinating.
I'm right. I'm just watching.
Yeah. Just don't talk to me. I'm looking at it. But it's weird because it could teach us all these little things depending on parts of the season. Are the snapper more likely to eat a metal jig really late in the season when they're schooled up in the deep water and you can fish annoyingly in front of them, just holding a slow pitch, small little 40-gram jig and just hovering it on their nose and waiting for them to eat? Yeah. Or I watched a video recently of a guy catching yellow belly in an impoundment, and the way he was fishing for him was insane. A small grub, drop to the bottom, lift it, and as you're lifting, you are tapping the rod butt so that you're sending a vibration through the soft bait as you lift it. You're not actually winding, you're just lifting the plastic off the bottom. And I thought,
teabagging.
But what if snapper want us to do that? What if we need to drop a curltail plastic, not wind, just lift, and just smack the rod butt so that there's just this vibration that's making its way through the braid into the plastic and getting it to oddly shake?
It was funny because when you were talking about, live scoping and then dropping a jig and seeing how they react and then dropping a plastic, you could go as micro as you want too, couldn't you? Because you could actually mix it up with different styles of soft baits and work out whether it's a grub and with a curl tail, or it's a jerk shad style plastic, or it's a paddle tail.
Slow winding a paddle tail out of it. Or what if they want to eat just like a 40mm metal vibe? They don't want to feed, but you might be able to annoy the shit out of them with a really small blade where they just want to almost eat it just to piss it off.
Not to
actually eat it.
Any content creators listening, with the ability to get their hands on live scope in their boat, mate, there is a video here that you could create that will go mental.
Oh,
if you could do basically all of what Adam's just requested.
I'd watch the shit out of it, Luke.
It'd go viral. There'd only be Adam watching it, but he'd watch it 1 million times. I love it. I think it's a really valid point. So back to your original point is, that does that change it up? Absolutely. But it also, as with any new technology, it's just trial and error, and people are going to try this sort of stuff. I've got no doubt that snapper will be a live scoped species for sure.
For sure. Yep, for sure.
And if we want to just keep on live scope for a second, I'm really interested to see whether it works in a really more, I suppose, Western port. So more,
yes.
Arguably flows harder. There's a bit more stuff in the water. It's not as crystal clear, or not that Port Phillip Bay is crystal clear, but you know what I mean. And what I'd love to see is people get up around some of those places where the dewies are.
Oh,
and have a look. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to open up a free-for-all catching dewies. You still got to catch them. We all know that it's one thing to find them. It's an absolute different story to actually catch them. But, geez, can you imagine even just finding some of those fish?
I wonder what the capabilities of LiveScope as far as what can it see. As in, would you be able to cruise up onto the flats around Lang Lang and spot 4-foot gummies? You know there's hundreds of them up there.
Or squid.
Yes, it's those big submarine squid that sit over the weed beds on Tyre Bank or Quail Bank or something
down,
like that.
Down around Flinders and stuff. Yeah. Like, yeah, you're right. Like, I mean, because it is motion, like, I would imagine you could absolutely see calamari sort of cruising around. But you're right, gummies and stuff, like, far out.
Where does it end? Well, I think
where does it end?
Well, that's because, and this might be a little bit controversial, but
love it.
Like watching some of the LiveScope footage, it's fucking shit. Like, as in, it's not like using on the cod. It's not like you've got this sonar thing and you look at it and it looks like a cod. Who fucking knows? Like, it could be anything. And I know the people that use it are a little bit more in tune with it than I am. But it's not like you blatantly know what you're looking at as soon as you see it on the screen. And from what I understand too, from the people I've spoken to that have used it, it's not as easy as just dropping it down and waving it around until you find something, stop and start casting. There is a little bit of an art to it as far as finding angles and.
Do you know why I know that? You know, when you watch that sort of thing, do you know why I know that it's a cod on the screen?
Because they wanted a cod.
It's because someone tells me it's a cod.
Yeah,
like it could be a carp.
Yeah, that's right. But that's what I mean. Like, listen, it is going to progress to a point where you will see an outline, kind of like, remember when Downscan first came out, and the sort of the test images of it were some underground structure, like some old towns at Eildon and stuff like that. Yeah,
and shit. Yep.
It will get to that. I know it will. But as of this point, I'm gonna say it's shit, and I wonder if, like, right in. Instagram's where you need to go, and I want to see a screenshot. And don't bullshit me, because I cannot tell you if you're lying or not.
Yeah.
I want to see a screenshot taken from a sounder with LiveScope. Show me a calamari sitting over a weed bed.
Okay. Love it.
I want to see it. Because, I know you would be able to see it. I'm not saying you can't. But
can I ask another question for the people out there that know more about LiveScope than I do? Do you need a different one for saltwater? I'm just thinking about the frequencies and whatever it is. I just feel like there's a lot more.
Well, I wonder if you can change the frequency like what you can with a normal transducer.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about, it's a different, like when it's cutting through the water, not cutting through the water. I don't know what the proper word is for.
Well, I wonder if salinity mucks around with it.
That's what I was trying to say.
Well, I don't think it would, because we've never had those issues with down scan and side scan and all that sort of stuff.
Let's hear it. Bringing it right in, as Adam says. I want to.
Oh, fuck no! Don't write in. I'm not reading it.
Yeah, post it in the mail.
And I apologise if I offended anyone by saying it's shit. I don't mean it's shit. I'm just saying you can't see what it is.
You've gone full circle. You've said you're obsessed with it, and you've laid out in black and white your obsession. We're well aware of it now. But then you've just rounded out with it shit.
No, it looks shit. The technology's great, but it doesn't look like what you're trying to catch. It's hard. I know. Yeah. Okay, shit.
No. I get it totally, and I agree. I mean, I've seen some cool stuff, and I think when you see something like a cod or a big barra move, and you see that tail sort of move, you go, "Geez, that's not bad." But yeah, for the most part, it's still just a blotch, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, a blob. It could be anything.
Oh well, LiveScope. I mean, it can't not be the next progression. The snapper, calamari, dewies, whatever it is, it can't not. But it has to be the next phase in and I'm certain there's people already doing it, but as we know, it sometimes takes a bit to kick off. Yeah. So I guess what we're saying is LiveScope for snapper, and I might even just keep it as simple as that on Instagram. So jump on. I'm just going to put it out there, and I want you guys to tell us about it. So
Yeah.
have you done it? Are you thinking about it? What are your thoughts on it?
What have you caught snapper on that you wouldn't have normally... Or what have you tried? Because surely you're not using live scope just to catch them on bait.
Wouldn't have thought so. Well, why not?
I've got a few things running through my head, all of which I can't say.
Nah, I wouldn't have thought so. I think if you're at that, if you're getting that sort of technology, you're probably... Actually, no, that's a bit of a generalisation. Why couldn't
Dropping a live bait vertical would be interesting with live scope.
Oh, Jesus. I love live baiting snapper.
Mm.
Anyway, imagine live scoping and then seeing a dirty big seal swim through the thing. You'd shit yourself.
Yeah. You watch the seal come and eat your snapper, or you can watch a big blob come and eat your small blob.
All right. Well, so the call out is to developers of this technology to lift their game because it's just not good enough.
Yeah,
Be better.
That's right. Be better.
And for users of this technology, tell us all about it. This is we want to hear about it. Live scope for snapper in particular, but obviously drop your comments about calamari and anything else that you've, again, even just thought about, and tell us what your thoughts are.
We could make it broader and a little bit easier to digest. What's the coolest thing you've live scoped?
What's the coolest thing you've live scoped? Okay, we can do that. And as I said, stay tuned because I am going to get some cool stuff that we can share on
that'd
Instagram.
be sweet.
Look at a screen that is looking at snapper, essentially. You won't know because it's a blob.
We can just say whatever.
Yeah. So, all right. So watch your space. I think that's good. All right. We've got a lot to lean on the audience for, Adam, and you know that we love doing it. You know it's our favourite part of doing this whole podcast. The deep drop isn't run by you and I, Ads. It is very much in the hands of you fine folk listening and taking the time to listen, and we very much appreciate the feedback. We appreciate you listening for starters. And then we appreciate you jumping over and shooting us some messages and voice messages and comments on the Instagram tiles because that's what we get a kick out of. And quite often we'll jump into them in the next episode with some of the fantastic responses. But don't stop. So how long do you wait for your mate at the ramp? Be as brutal as you want, or be as lenient as you like. Tell us what your sort of rules are in that situation. Are you someone that is a frequent sort of charter boat type customer, and how does that sort of how does your patience go in that scenario?
Yeah. How long do you wait for someone you don't even know?
Yeah, that's minutes. Like not even. That's a minute. I'm gone. But if you are a boat owner that offers to take people out and they're not there once you've put the boat on the water and so forth, what's your tolerance like in that space? I'm curious to know because it's going to be a talking point over the next few months with snapper season upon us, and then finally with the live scope. So we want to know what's the coolest thing you've live scoped. But then opening it up to the whole snapper conversation as well, because that's next. I reckon that's coming. So once again, thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. Adam, thank you.
Thank you, Luke. It's been a pleasure.
Stop. Jump on Spotify and follow the show. Tell your friends. Share it around. Copy a link and just blast it out everywhere. Let's get this bad boy really cooking. We're happy with how it's going, but we want to reach more people and have more fun, don't we, Ads?
We do, and it's all about fun. And we've learned from this podcast that more questions lead to even more questions, which means we get to talk about more just complete crap.
Yeah, and that's how we operate. That's how we like to. That's how we like to do things. So, yeah. Anyway, get involved. Keep staying involved. There's no dumb question here, and trust us, we're the ones who ask most of them.
Yeah.
And we'll see you around real soon. Plenty coming up. Stay tuned. Bye.